Right. Good afternoon and welcome to the ICB Student Success webinar with Louise Woodhouse. Now, I am delighted that you can join us and I am so pleased that we have Louise with us today. I met her at the 2018 Luca Awards. We'd all just had dinner. She had received her award for Student of the Year. And I was so moved by speaking to her and listening a little bit about her story that I knew that I wanted to get Louise to come and share it with you. So, Louise Woodhouse, welcome to the webinar.
Hi, everyone.
We are going to ask, I'll be asking Louise a few questions and we'll be talking for a little while. You can chat using the chat screen on the right hand side. If you can't see it, select it from the toolbar below the screen. And if you have any specific questions, please do go ahead and ask them either in the chat or in the Q&A. That again is in that bottom toolbar, and we will try very hard to get through all of the questions. But first of all, so Louise, you very kindly talked to me last week, and we shared some of your top tips for exam success. Now, what I think is particularly interesting about your story is that you didn't have any accounting background, and you still did incredibly well in your exams. What would you attribute that to?
Hard work and going over it and over it and over it or again and again. I made lots and lots of notes. I'd take it in stages at the very first, because I wasn't coming from an accountancy background. I struggled with the terminology. Words aren't my best thing anyway. I'm definitely maths, and the terminology used to throw me completely. So at first I'd use a yellow highlighter to go through the things and think, okay, I'm really not getting this. So I used to then go onto YouTube, and it used to be like even just introductions to bookkeeping, or there's some great ACCA videos on there. There's all sorts of stuff, and I'd start listening to those, and then I'd start getting my head around the terminology, and then I'd come back to the books, start making notes, and take it from there, really. And
who did you study with? Had you ever done any kind of distance learning before?
No, not at all. And I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't feel motivated, or that I would struggle with pushing myself, keeping to time limits. But I think I was with Ideal Schools, and being part of their family, you're part of it. And once you get into sending off your assignments and you're waiting for it back, a bit like a child again, really. And then you get the good marks and you want to keep on going and you want to keep on achieving. And also they have a students support forum, and there was a lot of help on there. So I didn't actually dare speak during the whole of level 2 on the student support forum. On the Ideal Schools one, I was so quiet and timid, and then in level 3 I came out there and I started helping other people that were struggling with other things, because with similar problems, and we battle it out between ourselves as well, because I think that really helps concrete learning if you can explain it to somebody else.
Yeah, that's so good, because I think sometimes, it's very difficult to study in this environment where you don't have that sort of cohort of other students and you don't all start on the same day and complete on the same day. So was that something you struggled with? Did you find that did you feel quite isolated?
I didn't feel isolated. In the beginning, I was just shy. Basically, when I decided it was accounting, well, it was bookkeeping that I wanted to do, I went on loads and loads of websites, and then I spoke to Brian, and with no hard sell, I'd got no idea, because I didn't know whether to do IAB, AAT or ICB, and he went through everything with me, and then I from then said, okay, it's definitely ICB I want to do. Where should we go with this? And the funny thing is, in the beginning, we were talking about which packages to buy, because I decided that I was going to buy it all in a one and take as much of the savings that I could, because the more you buy at once, the more savings you get on the. But I wouldn't buy FRS 105 because I said, oh, there's no way I'm doing corporation tax, no way. but you learn. And that was, yeah, I bought that as an add-on afterwards.
Wow. So are there any courses you didn't buy?
Yes, drafting financial statements and management accounts.
Ah, okay. And are you never going to do those, or do you think you might?
I'm never say never.
Never say
FRS 1021A, when you bring it out, will definitely be my next step.
Okay, so that's, if you've been on a student webinar, you may be familiar with these terms, or if you study our website on days when it is working optimally. And FRS 105 and FRS 1021A are reporting standards that are specific to small businesses and micro businesses. So the majority of businesses in this country, you can use that reporting standard for them, and that is a qualification you can do through with ICB via training providers like Ideal Schools and the other accredited providers. Hello, Hilary. You are doing level 3. That's very exciting. So let's take it back a step. You didn't have an accounting background.
Nope.
We know that you ended up speaking to Brian. He kind of convinced you to do ICB. But what was the thought process?
He didn't convince me. He asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I definitely wanted to be self-employed. This was all about me finding something that I could work from home. And with AAT, you have to have 6 months experience really before you can go the self-employed route. And I said, well, that's never going to be okay, Brian. So that's why ICB became the obvious choice. And because of the support that you give to self-employed bookkeepers, it became the obvious choice. And the fact that you can add on and become more and offer a one-stop shop, which is what I ultimately wanted to do.
So how much are you doing for your clients at this stage? So actually, just tell us, when did you set up your business, and what are the services you offer?
Okay, well, I first got my practice license after level 3. I felt that I needed to do. Everybody learns in different ways, and I think that I felt it very important that I get my teeth into somebody's books, because I hadn't had the accountancy background. I wanted to gain some experience. So I approached 2 friends and offered to do their books for free under my AICB practice license. And then I continued studying. And I was actually studying when my boiler broke last February. And the plumber came to fix it, and he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm doing my bookkeeping. And he said, I need an accountant. He said, I desperately need an accountant. He said, and he named all these problems and said, I need an accountant. I need you to do my limited company. And I explained, I said, I wasn't going to do limited companies right to the end. And he said, well, you are now, kid. So, and I thought, well, I am absolutely loving this. So I and he spurred me on to do the FRS 105. So I now offer limited companies, micro entities. I can submit their accounts to HMRC Companies House and do their corporation tax return, payroll, self-assessment tax returns, and bookkeeping, and VAT returns.
Of course.
I do management accounts and cash flow projections, which I think are very, very useful for a client. But that's only now, so don't scare people.
Well, so can you talk to us briefly about what are management accounts, and why might that be useful for a business?
Well, I can show them their profit and loss on a monthly basis, highlight expenses that may have rocketed sky high, show the variances with percentages, but that only comes at the end of, that only comes with level 4. So it's a very much a growing thing, but yes. And then I've been able to project their cash flow on their current clients and on their current expenses, so that they can see where they'll be, and then I can give them a corporation tax estimation as well.
Wow.
So I can provide a lot more value.
And charge more?
And charge more, yes.
Excellent. I love that. Okay, so it is a gradual process. You can start off with your qualifications and with your services by providing something that is quite compliance based, I suppose, just helping them do the VAT returns, quite repeatable services, and then progress on to doing something that adds more value and can really give them more advice on the way their business is going.
Yes, definitely. And it depends when your client comes to you as well. if the client comes to you after the year end with their books, there isn't much you can do to help them about their cash flow projections, profit and loss in that year, because it's past. So what you then, I've been nurturing clients saying, well, you know, bring me the stuff on a monthly basis and I can help you out a lot more. So it's also teaching the clients, because they've got into the rhythm of going and seeing an accountant maybe once a year after their year end. So there's nothing that you could have helped them with if it's after the fact. But if you get teaching them about, you know, bringing it earlier and then showing them what extra value you can bring them, it's a different ball game, and it can be really helpful to inform businesses.
Okay, but presumably you didn't know that much. You didn't even really have a sort of business background before. And you can't really know those things when you're studying. So how do you sort of balance the fact that ultimately you're kind of studying to do qualifications, but yet you are trying to build a business out of it? How much focus did you have on, you know, this is my exam, I've got to pass it?
Right. I would say definitely level 2, I was just focusing on passing the assignments, passing the exams. And then I got into level 3 and I thought, at the end of this, I'm getting a practice license and this is going to be it for real. It changed my perspective completely. And I no longer learned to pass an exam. I actually learned for my future career.
Wow. So there was a bit of a shift there.
And there was definitely, and it slowed me down considerably. But I felt that if I wasn't confident at it at that stage, don't move on.
So that's the from 2 to 3, is it? Were you saying?
Well, during level 3, during level 2, I was just racing through it, just thinking about the exam as the thing that I had to pass. And then during level 3, I think when it became a bit harder, you know, there was VAT got involved, depreciation comes in. I thought, right, I'm not going to rush this. This is something that I've got to be taking forward with me into my career. It's not about passing these exams. It's about knowing it well enough to use it.
And did that help to spur you on to do it and to sort of give yourself time to study? Because, you know, you're a mother, you've got other things on your plate. How did you find time to study?
Well, I was quite fortunate at the time that I wasn't working while I was studying, so I had 5 hours each and every day available to me for studying.
I see. But then presumably quite an imperative to get qualified quickly and start working.
Yes, and that is exactly it. And as Chrissy Applen said in her one, I was exactly
in her webinar.
Yeah, her webinar. I was exactly the same. I took on any client as well. So I could see all these people saying, okay, I'm only going to use Xero, for instance, and I'm just going to have Xero clients, or I'm going to specialize in a certain industry, say driving instructors. I've seen that, or property. And I thought, whoa, I don't really have the luxury of saying I'm just going to use Xero, or I'm just going to, because there was a lot of clients that just found me, you know, friends of friends. And if they were already on Xero or already using QuickBooks, you know, I didn't feel I could turn them down because it wasn't the software. So I've encompassed, I use Sage, QuickFile, QuickBooks and Xero. And I will use Free Agent too when the time comes.
I think that's super common. I think the bookkeepers that use just one software application are definitely in the minority. And I think probably in some ways that is the USP of the bookkeeper, is we are very flexible as professionals, and you're there to help the client, not be a hindrance, I suppose. Having said that, I do know people talk about the sort of efficiencies in just using one software and becoming a super user.
So yes, once I qualified, there was all these questions. You know, everybody likes to talk about ideal clients, what software you're going to use, what who is your ideal client, who you should be marketing to. And it was very overwhelming, and I spent a long time looking at making a website, thinking, oh, I don't have any blurb. I spent so much time trying to perfect everything. And then one day I just read this one quote that said, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. And I thought, you know what, you're right. Just get, this is draft 1 of the website. It's now on draft 2, but I'm sure by draft 6, it'll be a lot better. We can't come out of this being perfect. We have to build on what we've been given, you know, what the knowledge that we've been taught, but also on all this marketing and everything. You just got to sort of find your way.
And do you think, and is it that kind of that thought process that helped you get through your exams and find the time to study? Because somebody's saying here, I'd really love some tips on finding time to study. I'm working full time. Someone else is talking about, you know, getting childcare from family and friends. Was it for you, did you have to just keep thinking about the sort of the end game, or was it just a matter of just being disciplined and saying, right, I am going to do 5 hours a day, or I'm going to do 2 hours a day?
Well, I really enjoyed it, so I didn't feel like honestly, it gave me something. It was something that to really get my teeth into, and I loved the logic of it. So I didn't need much spurring on, but I do understand if you've got a full-time job and children, it must be awful to, you know, try and find the time. But yeah, you must ask relatives wherever you can, you know, after school clubs. I have, you know, on days out with my son, been taking my books with me to soft play centres. But I also see it as an opportunity to get into conversations with people. Like he's just started secondary school, so I had to go and spend, well, they had to do 11 plus exam. So I had to be there for hours and hours on certain days. Well, I used to take all my books with me, and the number of people that you get talking to, and you say, oh yeah, I'm doing this, and they're interested, and then you've got to be able to tell people what you do.
I think that's really interesting, because you were telling me earlier that you hate networking, or you're not very good at it, but actually it's not all about going to networking events and having a flashy business card. There's that kind of slightly more subtle networking that's happening all the time.
Much smaller one-to-one networking.
At the Soft Play Centre. It's a great place to work, actually, isn't it, Soft Play? I have discovered myself.
Well, there was other mothers there, so, and one of the mothers, her husband then said to her a few weeks later, oh my God, I really need a bookkeeper. And she said, oh, actually, I do know one. So the more people you tell, the more people, and it does, but yeah, I haven't got to the confidence level of going to a networking meeting yet. But there's somebody online that I can see that's going to make me. She keeps trying.
Well, once you've done the webinar with Amy at ICB, you can tackle the world, can't you? So Marie, so the awesome quote was, well, you can repeat the quote.
Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction.
And you were saying also that you mustn't be afraid to make mistakes.
Yes.
When you were doing your course, did you find the whole thing very straightforward? Were there areas that were more tricky than others?
Oh no, there was some areas. I mean, I can remember the bank account. One of the first things was the bank account. It's completely opposite, the debits and credits thing. All of a sudden it's on its head. And you've got to get, if you get that first, and think about it logically, that's from your perspective as opposed to the bank's perspective, then I actually use the bank account to come back to and everything, because I'd found that such a struggle that I was then able to use the debit credit of the bank account to say, okay, if it's crediting the bank account, it's debiting the expense, or if it's debiting the bank account, it's going to be crediting the sales. So yes, I think the things that you find hardest will stay with you the best. But yeah, depreciation blows everybody's mind. And not for profit is an eye opener for everybody. And I don't think there's many of us that didn't struggle with that.
Wow.
And sorry, I was just going to say, and that's the thing. If you're part of these forums on Facebook, which there's the Ideal Schools one, but there's also the ICB student support one, but there's other forums as well where people will help you. AAT they'll even let you in and help if they can. Yeah, there's all sorts of different forums out there that can give you support if you need it.
Including the ICB student Facebook group.
Yes, but I mentioned them.
Oh, you did.
And,
sorry.
Yeah. And you'll see that the same people, the same comments come up again and again, especially for not-for-profit. It is a hard one, but once you've got your head around that, you're ready.
I would just want to say quickly, hello, Andy. Andy's also studying with Ideal Schools. Started his level 2 at the start of December last year. Oh my gosh, that's recently. Congratulations. Welcome into the fold.
And he's
just finishing his 4th assignment. And Charlotte didn't realise that we had an ICB student Facebook group. So it's facebook.com/ICB UK. And then you can find the group as attached to that. Debbie, hello, studying towards BA7. That is a big bear. I don't know if you mean bugbear. Or a big bear. Is that a big bear?
Debbie, I struggled with that for BA7, and these have been my be-all and end-all, but this is my giant VAT return. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. So you copied it out, the template?
Well, it's yeah,
of a VAT return.
I template myself, and then I put notes next to it for everything, saying, you know, everything that I might forget. So yes, these things, and it didn't all start there. We just had debits and credits in the beginning. So just so that I could remember what was debits, what was credits, and I would put these all over my wall, much to my family's disgust. Yeah, and I made templates for absolutely everything. So it just goes on and on. Sorry to bore you.
Let's see them. This is oh wow.
A balance sheet for a partnerships, and then so I put down anything that I might forget, and then know that how I was going to separate it, just so that. And then it gave me the confidence, and especially not for profit. So you've got the income and expenditure account, and that's the trading account. So that I had them there, and I still use these. And then once I got to be making the templates for the assignments, because I in level 4 there's no templates anymore. Ideal Schools are very nice and give you templates for level 2 and level 3 that you can fill in your answers to, and then all of a sudden in level 4 they take it away from you, so you've got to make your own. And I started making my own spreadsheets using Excel, so that they'll do the formulas, so that it gave me some confidence, so that when I finished, I felt like I'd got some things ready to take into the practice with me. And obviously ICB you've got all your templates for the letters of engagement, and there's a lot of forms on there, and that also gives you extra confidence.
Yes, plenty of support after you qualify. So I just wanted to mention very quickly that we have slightly redeveloped the syllabus structure. There's nothing added in or taken away. We've just slightly changed the order of things. And all of your training providers know probably even more about it than I do, so they will definitely help you if you need any help with it. The good news is there's one fewer exam to get to full member level. And that exam is a centre-based exam. So now there's just one centre-based exam as opposed to 2 to get to full member. And then you can now gain fellowship through exams, so through the sort of the specialist level 4 suite, which is things like that Louise has already mentioned, which is FRS 105, the drafting financial statements, corporation tax, self-assessment tax. And so previously, to become a fellow, you had to be a member and apply and do all these things, and there was a long interview process. But now you can do it through qualification, which I think is a much more accessible, much fairer route into it. And it really just sort of sets apart those bookkeepers that are becoming that one-stop shop for their clients. Those bookkeepers are now the fellows of ICB. And there's nothing to stop you working for your clients and just doing VAT returns or just doing the day-to-day bookkeeping for them if you want to. There's nothing to say that you have to go up to do corporation tax, but possibly, like Louise, you may you may decide you've got the head for it, you've got the appetite for it, and you want to do it. So it's absolutely up to you. And we were discussing before, weren't we, Louise, that Ricardo Pereira, who came on one of our previous webinars, all of his clients, or the majority of them, have their own accountant, whereas that's different for you, isn't it?
Yes. I only had one until recently that had an accountant, and he's realised now that since I'm in his books every day, it sort of makes sense if I do them as well. So now, yes, I don't work with any accountants. I am the accountant for, well, I'm the bookkeeper, and do the accountancy services for them at the end of the day, because I've got a really close relationship with them. I think that's really important. A bookkeeper has a really close relationship with the client, whereas an accountant, not so much in my experience. So, and I think that we're much more approachable, and they feel that they can ask more advice from us. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, like a sort of a hybrid.
Yes, yes. I just wanted to answer Alex, if that's okay. The pass rate for the centre exam, I believe, is 70%. It's lower than the normal pass rate. For the BA7, I'm fairly sure. And I do have any tips for this, for the exam. I recommend that, you know, when people are doing the mocks, what I also found was extremely helpful was printing them off while I was doing them. So printing one version off that's clear, doing them online, but keeping that separate so that I can do it again another day. I mean, I don't retain the answers. So I was able to leave it a few days and then go and do the mock again. And you can do it again and again and again. You can even change the numbers, but this helps a lot with your speed and with the going over the same type of question. But also, Alex, and this, you can't do this in centre-based exams, but keep on reading those questions, because as Chrissy Aplin said, I read them aloud at home, because that one word change, because sometimes they can be so similar to a mock question, but it could have not in it, and it just changes the outcome of the answer so much. And especially with some of these ones that are like 30 marks, please be careful with the wording of the questions. So if you're at home, read them out loud. If you're in the centre, just read and read and read, because when we're all nervous as well, I think that we're able to skip words and go, oh yeah, I know what the answer to that is. But then I've gone back, and honestly, I've made changes on the 4th check through because I've misread a question, and it would have made the difference of a huge amount of marks. So
wow. So keep rereading your work, reread the questions. I would just say, Alex, just regarding centre-based exams and pass marks, always speak to your training provider if you have one, and if you don't, call ICB, and we can definitely help you with that. But because there's a little bit of rejigging about where certain elements of the syllabus now sit within the exams, your training provider will know at which point you can transfer over to the new syllabus, as it were. So they will probably say, oh, well, you've done this exam, so now you'll transfer after in your next exam. So it's nothing to worry about, but definitely speak to the training provider, because they will know exactly what you will be doing. So Stephanie asks, which exam did you find most challenging, Louise?
Payroll.
Payroll, okay.
Definite. Yes, and it wasn't the manual part of payroll, it was the Sage payroll exam. There's a lot to get in there, and you know, you've just got to be very, very, very careful. Payroll seems to me to be strategic. Yeah, definitely. The payroll course, I mean, it is a diploma. There is so much in there to learn, and it is mind-boggling at first. But once you can get around all the words, maybe it's just me with words, Amy. But yes, at the start of every course, I have struggled. That first chapter that's so wordy. And then that's when I'll go and try and watch a YouTube video or read round it or something, and then come back with a clearer head and try and get past all those words. But once I get to the maths, I'm usually okay. Yeah, I definitely found that a challenge.
That is interesting. And is payroll something, a service that you now offer to your clients? Is it worth doing?
Oh yes, it's definitely worth doing, because then you can offer a one-stop shop. Directors need payroll to be able to get money out of their limited companies. So if you are going to offer FRS 105 and do the whole job for directors, it really does make sense to have payroll as well.
And that is a standalone qualification in the sense that you can take that at any point during the rest of your qualification. So you don't have to wait until you've done your level 3 or your level 4. You can just take it right now if you want to. But definitely worth doing the training. Miranda is just wondering how you felt about the timing of those online exams, because all of ICB's exams now are computer based. Some of them, like the payroll, there's a sort of manual element, and then you do a bit on your software and you upload some reports and things like that. Did you feel that pressure of sort of time running out?
Oh gosh, yes, and definitely in the first mock exams for BA4 and BA7. Sorry, not BA4, because that's 24 hours. You've got quite a lot of time then. Yeah, definitely BA. It was BA5, BA6, BA7. The first time that I would try it, the mock, it would be pipping post to see whether I could finish it. That's why I did the printing off of the mock exams.
Right.
And then I could practice the mock exam to speed myself up, because once you get into the gist of the structure and the layout of the exam, and you keep practicing, you do get a lot faster. So that is my best advice as well to you, Debbie, is keep on practicing the BA7. You will get faster.
So you also did say to me that you did this thing in your exams where sometimes you just get up and jump around.
Yes, I do find that I get a bit zoned out, or if you've checked it through. So I know that we've only got 2 hours or something. So I'm only talking about 30 seconds on the spot. But after you've finished going through the first time, have a bit of a jog on the spot. Get your oxygen pumping to your brain again. I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm speaking out loud to the exam. I'm reading it out loud, and then I'm jogging on the spot. My neighbours must think I'm mental. But I then find a clearer head to be able to go back, and it also calmed me down a bit as well, because I find when I first open the exam, I'm so nervous, I can't actually really read what it says. And you have to bring yourself down and say, okay, so I normally as well start with one. I didn't start with the big ones, by the way. Somebody's asked that earlier. Did you start with the big? I started with the easiest questions to calm myself down. So I would, if I didn't like the first page because it wasn't making much sense or my heart was still fluttering, I'd go on, and then once I saw something that I found easier, it would calm me down, and then I'd be able to go back to the first page and actually it would make sense. But no, I didn't go and do the big ones first.
Wow.
But I did. If I was running out of time, it would be the big one that I checked, because there's a lot of marks. But the nice thing is about bookkeeping is, if it balances, on those big ones, if it balances, it balances. You're fairly sure that you've done it right, and you can get this wonderful feeling that, oh. But if it doesn't balance though, it's, and especially with the 2 hour time limit. But keep practicing, guys, honestly.
And do you remember how long it took you to get from exam 1, and then you went all the way up to the level 4 and did your limited company stuff and your centre-based exam at the end there? How long did that take you?
14 months.
14 months. 14
months. But I did have a bit time off in between, because my son broke his collarbone while we were in Turkey. So we got trapped in Turkey. Yeah. And then I had a month with him off school because they wouldn't look after him at break times and stuff. So, and then I started my level 4 again, because I felt that I'd had so much stress that bits of it had built up. So I actually went back and started it again. Because remember, guys, this is for your career. It's not just about the exams. And I think that's what also gave me the confidence. I'm much more confident now than I was when I was doing level 3, because I know now I've learnt it properly. I've got the templates, and somebody said I should publish them. You're very willing to have copies of them, but I feel that if you don't make them yourself, you probably won't learn as much from them. But honestly, they have been it's all about having confidence backup, because this takes a hell of a lot of confidence to just do this on our own. But we're such a friendly bunch of bookkeepers. We will all help each other.
Why do you think that is? I always think that there is something in the nature of the work, because essentially what you're doing is fixing people's problems and helping people. Is that what makes bookkeepers friendly, or is it because we're all, most people are career changers and they've had this life experience and there is that sense of being in it together?
Do you think as well, though, it's because a lot of us do it on our own, so we know that we've got to have somebody to bounce ideas off as well. And honestly, I've never ever come across such a helpful bunch of people. There doesn't seem to be any competitiveness. It's not like nobody will give you an answer because they offer that service as well. Everybody will reach out and help each other and support each other, and we all want each other to succeed. So that's really nice.
I think also, I always like to think it's because there is a lot of business out there. There are so many businesses, there's more every second being created, that even if you are doing something very similar to another bookkeeper who's very close by you geographically, there doesn't need to be that competitiveness.
Yes, that's very true as well. There is a lot of work out there, and especially with MTD coming, I think there'll be even more.
Yeah. How are your clients dealing with MTD? Have you had to tell them about it, or did they come across it themselves?
No, I've had to tell them about it. One client, she says, I can't do that, so we're going to I'm going to be taking over everything. But another client, I'm giving the opportunity to come and sit with me for a day to see if she can, because she normally does the bookkeeping for the business, and so I'm going to introduce her to the software, and I'm going to spend a day with her and see if she can get her head around it. Otherwise, I will take on the business, which I know some people might think's mad, but at the end of the day, she's going to tell her friends that she knows a really nice bookkeeper, as opposed to being cutthroat about it and saying, well, I'll just do it for you then. I want to give her the opportunity to do it for herself, because she always has done. So I do think a lot of it as well becomes nurturing the client.
And yeah, and I think that is, to me, that seems to be what sets bookkeepers apart from accountants, because there is no sort of mysticism about this end of year process. There is a very candid, open relationship, and that is, that's part of the product you're selling, really, is the fact that you will speak to them on a level that they understand and according to the way they want to have that relationship.
Yes. I would definitely say that I'm approachable. And when I first got started and bought clients, I bought client leads, and I used to have to force myself to ring them up, because, by the way, if you do decide to go down the route of buying leads, ringing works much better than emailing. I found that out the hard way. But at first I was just like, oh, I'll just send them a little email. No, ringing works much better. And when I actually got to meet them, they said, oh, I had 12 phone calls that day because they'll sell the leads to many.
Wow.
You sounded the most helpful. So they went with me for that reason. So I don't think it is all about the hard sell. I listen to my clients, listen to what they need, and then try and help them, and make sure that they have got the knowledge to help themselves as well.
Somebody, Andy again has just saying that it's nerve-wracking. Not only does he not feel able to ask a question in forums, he also is sort of daunted by the range of different questions being asked. But that's what you've been saying, isn't it, Louise? Did you at the beginning feel like you had to know everything?
I did, and what I did do is that I would get as much information off the client about themselves, and then I would spend a long time preparing for that first client meeting, and I would write down in my diary. So when I was going to the client meeting, I would have a list of questions that I got to ask that client. They can't see this. It's on your lap. You could got a pen and they just think that you're jotting their answers down, but you've actually got a list. It used to be my backup in case I got nervous, and to make sure that I got all the information that I needed from the client on that visit. And I think that that also gave me the confidence to, but don't worry about the questions that they'd ask, because I've said to them, some of the questions you will never ever be able to know everything. And so I've said, I'm really sorry, I'm not an expert in that area, but I'll look into it for you. And if I can't help you, I'll be able to pass you on to somebody else that will.
Exactly. And that's why it's so vital to be part of a network as strong as ICB's network, that you can pass people on. You can always ask during the forums, you can ask at events and things like that. And I have heard people talking about their sort of little black book, because you have this trusted position as somebody's advisor, and you probably do see them more often than any other kind of business advisor. And when you form these strong bonds with your clients, that they will ask you for all sorts of advice. And it is very useful to say, oh yeah, do you know what, I know an accountant that does specialist consolidated accounts, or I know a good financial advisor who can help you with your life insurance or something like that. So yeah, it sort of goes back to networking, I suppose, and seeing every meeting as an opportunity. So I know that you don't really like networking, but what are your plans for this year, and what are you thinking to do?
Get into networking. When I was at the ICB summit, everybody was raving about how networking was the way forward, and it's something that I haven't done. I've networked on very small scales on Facebook or one-to-one, telling people what I've done and gain clients that way, but I've not done it on the big scale. So that is my plan for this year.
And yet we mentioned it in the article, you've done over 30 tax returns in the last year.
Yes, I have. And I've got I think I've got 37 clients now. So, but in the beginning, I just bought them. I just bought the leads, and I got some free leads from Bark because they're desperate to get you in. And in the beginning, I didn't have Receipt Bank. Now I have, but so I input everything by hand. So it all depends on everybody's circumstances. If they've got, a couple of £1,000 in the bank that they can start their business with, fantastic. I didn't, and I didn't want to put more into the business than I was getting out of it. So it's been a slow build, but it's been a great journey. And yes, the first self-assessment tax returns, I was so nervous. And now I love them because I think, right, well, you've got this covered.
So don't freak out. As you say, imperfect action better than perfect inaction. So let's just re-clarify. No startup capital for your business. No. Fear of networking. You just bought some leads. How many leads did you buy? Do you mind telling us how much that cost?
I put £100 in, and I spent it all. I think that got me 8 leads. The first 2 I hid behind email. That was very simple. You've got to, and then I started, but I wouldn't suggest that you buy any leads from these companies. I would suggest the ones that give a much more, they give further information at the bottom. And if that really sounds like something that they really do need, as opposed to, oh, I need some startup advice. But if it sounds like I need a self-assessment tax return done, I need VAT returns, extra information, then I'd ring them up. And that was how I got my first clients, apart from my 2 friends that I was doing it for free. But those guys have got me more clients. So one of them got me 4, another one's got me 2. And then some of my clients as well have just grown. So as I'm helping them, they've gone from having 2 limited companies to now having 4 limited companies, which is brilliant because it's more money for me too.
Wow. And probably you don't like to think about this too much, but do you feel in some way responsible for the fact that they've been able to grow their business now?
I feel I wouldn't say that I feel responsible because of the informed business decisions, because they very much made these off their own back. However, it's because I took all the bookkeeping away from them that they had time. See what I mean? But yes, so it all started, and I just want to show everybody, if you don't mind, it all started with me going to pick up, this was one of my first clients, and I went to, she said she needed a self-assessment tax return doing. Are you ready for this? This was once I got home. I don't know if you can all see that. That's what I got with me.
Oh, they're plastic
They're
bags.
plastic bags all full of receipts.
Oh my God, I thought they were kittens.
No, they're plastic bags all full of receipts.
No way.
And I just thought.
What was that, a year's worth of receipts?
And I just thought, oh my God. When she didn't sell it, she didn't sell it as, oh gosh, you better come over with a van. I just thought, okay, this is going to cost you quite a lot, love. And I did everything by hand, and now it's got me up to the point where I've got a scanner, I've got receipt bank, and you know, the data entry's done for me, and it leaves, and now I've got time to do the extra value stuff that can help businesses on a much higher level, I think. But yeah, but you also take, if you take that off them, you do take, I mean, can you imagine how long it would take a business to do that? It took me long enough.
And then also there's sort of it's not just that taking up space in your house or your office. That is just like, that's weighing on you, isn't it?
Yes, it definitely did. Yeah, and I didn't have a scanner or a receipt bank then or anything like that, so it was all hand input. But yeah, it was definitely worth doing, because every time if you bring everything back and just think, okay, just think about debits and credits, everything that I've learned, bring it right back to the start and just think, okay, it's only sales and expenses. You can do this. And then you start. And once you start, you can finish. And then you're on to the next one. And you will soon get your confidence up. You just got to get your teeth into it. I can see that they're all talking about books. And I just wanted to say that this is I use these revision guides, the ICB Kaplan ones. It was just to give me more worked examples so that I could practice and practice and practice.
Practice and practice and practice. Print out some mock papers. Keep going. Draw up some templates. And just believe you can do it. Don't try and be perfect.
Yes. But honestly, just do it, because I didn't think I could do it. And yet here I am. So everybody can do it. You've got this. So just keep practicing.
Keep practicing. And that's how you grow a business. That's how you end up. So you set up your business in 2017.
I did, but I didn't. I'd only got the 2 friends that I took on. So I didn't actually really start until May 2018. So yes, it's been since then. Oh,
wow, that's quick. That's quick to get over 30 clients and be doing all those tax returns.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. And I honestly haven't got any blurb that's ready. I haven't got a perfect website. My Facebook page could really do with a revamping, but I am honest, and I can only be me, really. So I've just gone out there with that, and I think that people have found me approachable, which is something that they probably don't have with their accountant. A lot of them seem nervous about that, whereas they can come to me and say, oh, I really don't understand it, and they don't mind, because I'll tell them that I really don't understand how boilers work or whatever they do.
I know a couple of people have just been saying that they've been out and come back in again. Number one, don't do that. Unless, of course, you've got a small animal or a small child or a client to tend to. I think we're probably going to wrap it up now. I know that everyone at home is very busy. Louise Woodhouse has got many clients to keep offering her amazing service to. And also, you are now the proud owner of a new puppy. I had to mention it.
Oh, can I do the puppy picture?
Do the puppy picture. So the puppy is out of the house, is that right?
Out of the house, just in case. I thought she would be a winner, but my son said, yeah, but what if she wheezes?
Yeah.
So here we have the pupster.
Oh. Oh, how old is the puppy? What's the puppy's name?
Puppy's called Ray, after the new Jedi in Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars fanatic.
Wow.
So obviously a little bit weird too. So yes, and she is 11 weeks old.
Oh gosh. And is she going to be a sort of part of the business, would you say? Is she important?
She's going to be my balance. I am going to take more time out for me, because I think that's important, and it's something that I did while I was studying, but it's something that I've let go sort of since I've taken the business on it, but I just keep on working. And I think it's important to realise why we wanted to work from home and what we can gain from it. So yes, she's going to be, instead of running on the spot in the house now, I'm going to take her out. Not running, I'm going to walk.
Yeah, little by little, baby steps. Wow. Okay. That's fantastic. Richie says, just make sure she doesn't get near any paperwork or piles of invoices. But you don't have piles of invoices because you're automating that part of your business, right?
I am now, yeah. And I have got a massive filing cabinet because obviously because of GDPR, everything has to be locked away. So yes, that's not a worry.
It's not a worry. So GDPR, another piece of legislation that we all have to adhere to. So don't forget to use the forums that Louise has mentioned, the ICB student Facebook group. When you become a member and you're running your business, there's loads of templates to download from the website. There's a technical support line that you can call 5 days a week. You were never alone. Do you have anything you want to end with?
I was going to say the HMRC agent helpline as well is really good. If you don't know what to do, I'll admit that I've rung up quite a few times and said, listen, I'm not really sure, because we can never learn all the things that a client could put in front of us. And some, you know, I've just done self-assessment tax returns for 2 people that live in Australia. So I did need a little bit of help there from HMRC, and they were great. And I've used the ICB helpline. And if anybody ever wants to ask a question on any of the forums, you know, if I'm there or if Natasha's there, we'll always help everybody as much as we can.
Fantastic. And can we see you are you going to be at the Bookkeeper Summit? I know it's not till November, but 25th, 26th of November.
Definitely. That was another brilliant experience. Definitely. And it was so helpful to talk to experienced bookkeepers. I did feel like a fish out of a frying pan there. You know, I felt a little bit, I'm just starting. But it was brilliant talking to them about how they got their clients, and then how they'd gone on to become, you know, have lots of employees. And it was brilliant. So I'll definitely be there.
Okay, so
as long as I can get puppy watch.
Oh yeah, maybe we need a puppy crash this year. I know there's loads of dog lovers in the ICB ranks, so who knows? Maybe we'll look into it. So I want to say a massive thank you to Louise. I hope we've answered all of your questions. This webinar will be available to view on demand. You will get a link to that by the end of the week. Thank you all of you who tuned in from home or from your office. And I just want to say good luck. We're here to help you. Louise is going to help you. She's over on the forums. Chrissy Applin, who did a webinar before, she's very active on the student Facebook group. So use the network, use the resources, and don't be afraid to pick up the phone.
Yeah, we're all here.
Brilliant. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.